Hey, thank you for coming to A Simple Little Pearl. I wanted to talk to you a minute about the Lord. I have been reading a book that I kind of wanted to share with you a little bit of it this morning. I am not a reader, just a disclaimer. First of all, I don't like to read, and so I do read the Bible regularly, but that's about the only book that I have a commitment to read. And so this book that I've had on my nightstand has been there for years, like years. And I have always seen it, and it's always like kind of called to me, and I'll pick it up and I'll read a little snippet of it, but then it just kind of, it's like my brain hasn't connected with it or wasn't connecting with it, and so I would just kind of give up. And so just, here within the past several months, I looked at it again and I was like, okay, I'm gonna push through and I'm gonna get into this book. It's a book it's by Watchman Nee, and it's called The Normal Christian Life. And when you're in an interesting spot in serving the Lord, you just want some clarity. And I think that's really was my driving factor. I'm like, okay, well, it's called The Normal Christian Life. I want to feel a little bit normal in this life that I'm living that feels very abnormal. So maybe this will help me feel a little bit of normalness. And so I started reading it, and last night, it's been very good. I've pushed through and I recommend it to you. It might be a hard start for you. It may not be, but for me it was a very hard start. It took me 20 years to get to chapter 3. So hopefully it doesn't take you that long. But I've pushed through and I've gotten to some really good, interesting revelations, and I wanted to actually read you a little bit of what my reading was last night because it brought so much comfort to me. And so let me listen. The trouble with many Christians today is that they have an insufficient idea of what God is asking of them. How glibly they say, Lord, I am willing for anything. But do you know what God is asking of you in your very life? There are cherished ideals, strong wills, precious relationships, much loved work that will have to go. So don't give yourself to God unless you mean it. God will take you seriously, even if you didn't mean it seriously. When the Galilean boy brought his bread to the Lord, what did the Lord do with it? He broke it. God will always break what is offered to him. He breaks what he takes, but after breaking it, he blesses and uses it to meet the needs of others. After you give yourself to the Lord, he begins to break what has been offered to him. Everything seems to go wrong, and you protest and find fault with the ways of God. But to stay there is to be no more than just a broken vessel. No good for the world because you have gone too far for the world to use you, and no good for God either because you have not gone far enough for him to use you. You are out of gear with the world, and you have a controversy with God. This was the tragedy of many a Christian. My giving of myself to the Lord must be an initial fundamental act. Then, day by day, I must go on giving to him, not finding fault with his use of me, but accepting with praise even what the flesh finds hard. That way lies true enrichment. I am the Lord's, and now no longer reckon myself to be my own, but acknowledge in everything his ownership and authority. That is the attitude that God delights in. And to maintain it is true consecration. I do not consecrate myself to be a missionary or a preacher. I consecrate myself to God to do his will where I am, be it in school, in office, or kitchen, or wherever he may be in his wisdom, send me. Whatever he ordains for me is sure to be the very best. For nothing but good can come to those who are wholly his. And I love that. Sorry, there's ants everywhere. I love that because when it talks about the Galilean boy and the bread and it being broken, we know that when we come to the Lord, when you first initially come to the Lord, there's so much love, there's so much joy, like there's just an overflow of just, like it just feels right. And then there comes a time when there are things that you're gonna have to, and it's not have to, that you're going to want to surrender and change. And there's gonna be things that he asks you to do that don't necessarily make sense to your human mind and your human reasoning. But as we can see, he doesn't break it to hurt us, he breaks it to bless us. And that's a really hard thing. And it's almost like you have to constantly like remind yourself that this is good. This is good. It may not feel good, but this is good. And it's like an ongoing journey that you have with the Lord. But I love it when it says, when you give yourself to the Lord and you have an issue with what he's doing in your life, well, it's too late to go back to the world, because you've given too much and you've experienced too much and felt too much in God, that you can't just ignore what he's done for you, because that doesn't feel right. But you have this issue with God and how he's handling you, and so you can't give all into God because now you have this thing there. And so the only solution when you give yourself to the Lord is give yourself wholly to him. And what I love about Watchman Nee is in the back of his book, it talks about, just how he was a Chinese missionary preacher spreading the gospel, and he ended up dying at the age of 69. And here it says, he was arrested in 1952 and found guilty of a large number of false charges. Watchman Nee was imprisoned until his death in 1972. So he died at 69 years old in prison. And what I love is that last part where it was like, no matter where I am in my life, if I'm in the kitchen or if I'm, teaching somewhere or in school or in an office, wherever I am, that's the very best. And to then hear, I think he wrote this book, I think it said it 29 or something like that. But just to hear all of that, it's just really interesting to me that that's where he ended. That's where his life ended, was in prison. So I just wanted to kind of encourage you, if you are in a tough spot in life, just to keep going, keep moving forward. Don't go back, don't stop, don't quit. Keep going, because the world and the enemy of the world wants to destroy you. He wants to do everything he can to make you miserable, to take you away from the Lord, to take you away from your purpose that God has put you on this planet for. And when you receive God, that doesn't feel good. You know that that's not right, and that's not the way that you want to live. And sometimes when you live for the Lord, the things that he's doing doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel good. But the beautiful thing and the beautiful truth about living for the Lord is that that what God is doing in your life and the things that he's asking you to do and maybe release and maybe change are going to end up blessing you, being blessing to you, not harming you. He doesn't break things to hurt them and to ruin them. He breaks them to bless them and to change them and make them thrive and make them better. And so that is the hope. That's the truth. That's the reason that we just keep going and living for the Lord. So don't give up. Don't give up in serving the Lord. I know things listen, I am going through a season where he's asking me to do something, and everything in my human reasoning is like, that's weird. Like, that doesn't feel normal. And that's why I'm trying to read, okay, well, I don't feel normal to the world. Let me feel normal to Jesus at least. And so that's why I really picked up the Bible, because I just want to feel a little normal. So I get it, is what I'm saying. I understand that it's hard, and I understand that he's going to ask you to do some things that don't make sense in the natural realm. But we don't live according to the flesh. We live according to the Spirit. And so keep moving in Jesus. Keep doing what he's asking you to do, because it will make sense one day, and he will do an amazing thing in your life. Years later, I'm reading this book by this man who died in prison, and I'm being ministered to and encouraged by it. So even though maybe you can be like, well, he died in prison, his mission, his story, his testimony, his message is still going out and ministering and bringing strength to God's kingdom. And so whatever it may look like to the human, in the human realm, doesn't matter when, you know, we don't live in this world. We don't live according to it. We live according to him. And whatever he says, that's what needs to go. So be encouraged today. Know that he loves you. Know that it's not anything that's going on right now is not for bad. You know, he works everything for our good. You know, if we love him, if we serve him, if, you know, we're called to him, which we all are, then it's going to end up being for our good. And that's what you just have to trust, even in the hard times that don't make sense. So I was encouraged with that last night, and I just wanted to encourage you with that. So y'all have a good day.